What's up, guys? Welcome to the final game of the first season of the San Diego Bisons franchise. Now, if you guys have been with us since the beginning, then first of all, thank you guys very much. Honestly, I really appreciate all the support that you guys have given me over the course of this series, and especially as I kind of transitioned to something completely different from what I was doing before. Now, honestly, I might actually take these football videos and transition them onto a completely different channel that is very sports specific. That way I can turn this back into a React channel, and that way there isn't a ton of crossover. I've not made my final decision on that yet, but I will let you guys know in a community post and also over on the Discord if that is what I plan on doing. But for now, we're going to keep posting these on here, and we're going to have a great time with it. But other than that, I think that we've actually had a pretty successful franchise here. Now, obviously, 5-11 really isn't that good, but for a team of all linemen, I was kind of expecting to only win 1 or 2 games this season. But we've already won 5, with a chance to actually win 6 here as we head to Las Vegas and take on the Raiders. Now, we did end up facing the Raiders in week 1, and we ended up losing in a pretty close contest. However, we are definitely not the same team that we were when we faced them in week 1. Now, that could also mean that they are a completely different team too. But as we look at their quarterback situation, they are still led by Jimmy Garoppolo, who is just shy of 2,000 yards right now and only has 10 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Now, he has been sacked 15 times as well, so hopefully we can get some pressure and also make it so that he makes a couple errant passes. So let's see if we can get some pressure on him and get him to make some bad decisions. Now, looking at their rushing attack, Josh Jacobs has been an absolute monster this year. I mean, he's got 1,400 yards on the ground, he's got 12 touchdowns, and he has almost 250 more carries than anyone else on the team. Obviously, Amir Abdullah has 68. He has 161 yards with 5 touchdowns as well. But really, Josh Jacobs has been their entire offense. Now, we might have to worry about Garoppolo if he ends up escaping the pocket. However, not too worried about him running. Now, in terms of their receivers, obviously Davante Adams is an absolute monster as well, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him, and Jacoby Myers is doing pretty well too. Now, Hunter Renfrow does have 48 catches this season. He's right on pace there with Jacoby Myers. However, again, these two guys are going to be the ones we're going to have to worry about. Now, Michael Mayer does have 50 catches for 487 along with 2 touchdowns too, so obviously he does like to rely on his tight end too. But again, if we're able to actually get some pressure in there, maybe we can get him to make some bad decisions, and the receivers won't really make much of an impact. Now, their defense actually looks really good here. I mean, it looks like they get a ton of pressure. Tyree Wilson has 10 sacks this season. Plenty of interceptions. I mean, thankfully, we're not much of a passing team, so that's really not going to matter that much. But still, if we do have to put it in the air, things we're going to have to worry about. Not a ton of fumbles, so hopefully that'll be a non-factor today too. So in terms of strategy, even though it's telling us to contain the QB scramble, I know that Josh Jacobs is essentially their entire offense, so I really want to defend him. So we're going to defend the outside run, and if they end up running to the inside, we'll switch that at halftime. And even though we played 16 games this season already, computer still hasn't figured out that we're not going to be throwing the ball, so we're definitely going to be running to the outside. So that brings us to game time in what is more than likely Lane Johnson's final game as a quarterback, because next week is going to be the draft, and you better believe we're going to be taking a quarterback in the first, second, or third round. So hopefully we can end his career as a quarterback on a high note as we head into Las Vegas and take on Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, and the Raiders. So let's go. Final week of the first season starts now. I'll be completely honest with you guys, I'm actually really looking forward to being able to pass the ball next season. And being able to actually get a kicker as well is going to be extremely beneficial, because how many games have we lost by, a handful of points where we could have either gotten a field goal or been able to actually punt and pin them back a little further. So I think that's going to make next season a lot better, so fingers crossed on that one. But we can worry about that next week, because now we really have to focus on this game as we start off by kicking the ball off. I did say I want to send some pressure, so let's start off by sending 5 here. Ooh, yeah, they're going to be running. Why did my guy freeze again? And Josh Jacobs gets up for 10 yards. Yeah, not the best start as they move it into our territory, but there we go. That defense is still pretty stout as we drop Josh Jacobs for a loss of 1. Ooh, as Bosa is in the zone. Let's see what he can do. Oh, no. Oh, wow, I can't believe he actually tripped him up. I thought he dove just a little too early and wasn't able to get him, but those are the kind of breaks that we're going to need if we want to win this game. So let's see, third. Oh, man, yeah. There we go. We end up stopping him, and unfortunately gets a gain of 11 yards on that one. Yeah, I know. Our pass defense really isn't that great, but that's something we're going to be able to improve next season too, as they go into play action and hit him. Not necessarily. Oh, yeah, out of the backfield. Oh, gosh. They end up getting another gain of 11. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm a little flustered after that one. Somehow Garoppolo is being able to actually move the ball on us here. Ooh. Come on, get him down. Wow, Jacobs is such a hard person to bring down as he ends up gaining 8. Okay, so let's actually send a ton here. We're going to be sending 6. Let's actually give him a bit of pressure. And yep, and we made him make an errant throw. There we go. 3rd and 2 now. Let's see if we can hold him to a field goal. So let's do this. We got to stop him right here. 3rd and 2. Passing. Oh no, he is wide open. Thankfully, we stop him before the goal line, but they get it down to the 1. As much as I love our defensive line, Josh Jacobs too, but they're going for the pass, and yeah, he is wide open, unfortunately. And Michael Mayer, man, not the person I was expecting to get the touchdown, but yeah, he was just wide open in the middle of the field. And unfortunately, that score is going to put us down 7-0. So let's see if we can answer back here. So the offense goes to work here as we have it 1st and 10. Let's set the edge. We do. And we end up getting a 1st down and a little bit more. Sewell's injured, unfortunately, but thankfully he only goes to the sideline. So we'll see him back in a few plays, I'm sure. And all it took was 1 play for Montez Sweat to have to go out because he's tired. Oh, nice block there. He gets him down. And McKinley gets it up to almost midfield. And McKinley has been such a godsend since Smith ended up going down with an injury. And especially since we unfortunately have another halfback who is tired all the time. Gain of 1 yard there. It's been good to have a second back that's been extremely reliable. So let's see if we can get the screen here and let's see if we can pick up the 1st down. Oh, unfortunately, it looked like he was blocked and oh my goodness, 4th and 24. I don't know how we're going to pick this one up. All right, let's try that again and let's see if we can just get them up to something that our defense can really manage here. So let's see if he can get free on this one. He does, thankfully, but that was a really bad throw by Lane Johnson. And now we turn it over at the 33. Not a great showing to start, and for some reason, these lower overall teams have really been doing some good stuff to us. Oh, are you sure that was a pass? Oh, and we end up knocking it down. That goes as an incomplete pass, despite the fact that I thought that might have been a fumble. But at least we're getting some pressure, and let's see if we can do that again here because... Ooh. Oh my gosh, he slipped out of that tackle. Come on, guys, we got to wrap up. Though Devontae Adams can definitely be slippery sometimes because he is a damn good receiver. But, again, let's hope that that's not going to matter as we get the sack. Let's go. Lawrence getting in there for the tackle. Now, we can string plays together that pretty much do that every single time. Man, we'd be in a great position. Oh, and they're going to run to the outside. Good block on that one. He's definitely going to be free for a touchdown. Again, we knew Josh Jacobs was going to be a problem. And even though we said we were going to defend the outside run, he somehow gets free on that one and ends up picking up a touchdown. And this is either going to look like the biggest throw for a better draft position, or we're going to have to make the biggest comeback of our lives here. I mean, the positive thing here is the fact that we still have 3 whole quarters to play. And again, I trust our offense despite the fact that we just ran into our blocker for only a gain of 6. But this offense has been able to put up points when we're actually in the zone, so let's see if we can make that happen as we get up the middle and we actually get a big gain there. And since it worked so well against the Chargers, we may as well try to run it up the middle again because, ooh, look at that block right there. We still get 4, which I know isn't great, but hey, you know what? Positive yardage. And as long as we get closer to that 1st down marker, then we are in a good spot. Ooh, man, I wish he would have actually got up there. And oh no, he ends up going out with an injury, which means we're going to be looking to Sweat here on 3rd and 4. So may as well go with the draw with Mr. Fresh Legs here. So let's see, we actually get that hole. Thankfully, even though we ended up hitting our blocker there, he still fought forward for another couple of yards and ended up getting the 1st. And I will say, after that run, he actually did look gassed. So, oh man, this is going to be a pretty tough game going forward unless we can get McKinley back in there. So even though he has a lower back strain, McKinley is back in there, and I think he's going to have a little bit more energy than Swift. As we break it to the outside, get there! He actually gets a pretty good gain there, and now we have a 3rd and 5. And it's that little extra effort that really makes me like him as a running back. Thankfully, we actually make a good pass on this one, and it looks like we're going to have the 1st down and a bit more as we get up to the 29. And it looks like we're really starting to cook as we're getting into the red zone. Oh, and look at that. Some really good blocks, some great vision, and a fumble. Oh, and unfortunately, yeah, the ball breaks free, and Las Vegas ends up recovering it. I was hoping that our guy was going to get there and dive on it, but no such luck. Does it get out? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's definitely not down. Oh, that is so rough. As we were knocking on the door, McKinley, as I was praising him, ends up fumbling it. And we give it to them pretty deep in their territory, though. And not the way that our offense was expecting to play. But thankfully, we do end up getting him down for only a gain of 9. And we need to really figure this out. We really need to figure this out fast because I am not okay with these guys taking us down as we get them down for a 3rd and inches. Unfortunately, I thought we had a TFL, but unfortunately he ended up pushing him a little bit forward. So let's pick up a really big stop right here. Let's see what we can do. Oh no, he stopped! What a great juke. He definitely tricked me right there, and Jacobs unfortunately gets the first. Yeah, again, guys, please forgive me as I am still kind of learning Madden a little bit, but hell, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and isn't that the most important thing as we tackle him in the backfield for a loss of 1. So now we have him 2nd and 11. I think we can make a stop as they're just going to keep leaning on Jacobs, and you know what? I can't blame him for that. I don't know how we're going to stop him, but we, again, need to figure that out right now because, oh my goodness. We're barely able to stop him, and man, he's knocking on a 100-yard game right here. So again, even though I don't mind losing mainly due to draft position, I do not want to get blown out in our final game of the season. And thankfully, we end up taking him down. I don't know, man, they're making us look like a college team right now. Let's see what we can do. And I'm not talking about, like, Alabama college. I'm talking about, like, oh my gosh, he somehow gets in. Jacoby Myers. You know what? He was great on my fantasy team this year for the weeks that he played, so can't be too upset. But that still puts us down by 3 scores, and let's see if we can actually score here before the end of the half. Because we do get the ball back at half, and if we can get 2 quick scores right away, that's a good way to start our comeback. So there we go. We get the... Why did you stop? But again, what I was saying is we definitely need to make a big comeback here. And you know what, though? Lane Johnson's final game as a quarterback. Oh, let's have some fun with it. Nice throw. Oh, I thought he was going to catch it. That was great. But unfortunately, he can't hold on. And now we're going to have to rely on a screen pass here on 3rd and 5. Oh my gosh, his accuracy is just really horrible right now. More than usual. And instead of getting points, we're actually putting them in a position where they can actually get some more. So come on, let's get it out. Thankfully, he ends up getting that one. And we got a first down, and let's call a timeout. But let's see what Aiden can do right here. We're going to be going for a screen out to him. A little play action. Thankfully, we get the ball out. Oh, but no one blocks him as he ends up getting him down. And considering the fact that I don't think we're going to score here, I think we're going to let the clock run a little bit. We're going to keep trying, don't get me wrong, but we want to make sure that they don't have a chance to score here. Good pass, buddy. Definitely sniffs that out. And let's let the clock run and go to the half. So as we go into the locker room, man, it is not looking good for us as we are down 21-0. Now, our rushing attack is still doing pretty well, but unfortunately, we can't get anything done in the air. And Josh Jacobs is definitely doing a number on us. So we're going to have to reevaluate here at half. And of course, that starts with our rushing attack. And the outside hasn't been too bad. We've been getting 7.7 per carry. 6 on the inside, but I feel like we've been a little more successful. So let's run to the inside this half. And then, of course, I mean, their medium pass and everything has been great. But honestly, we still need to really deal with Josh Jacobs. So let's defend the inside run as well. Plus, since they're up by 21, who knows how much they're actually going to be passing. So we definitely need to stop Josh. But we need to actually do some good stuff here too. Nice little cutback, and we end up getting 5. But truly, ball security is paramount right now because we would have had a score there at the end, but unfortunately ended up fumbling. Nice little juke there. Please don't let the ball go, and we get up to almost midfield. So let's keep running the ball here. It's been working. Oh, thankfully we didn't get a penalty on that, and we just get 4 to the outside. Oh, they're not going to be expecting the screen pass on 2nd down? No, they won't know. There we go. Wide open, and we'll get the first down and a little bit more. Oh, that was a hard hit. But thankfully, McKinley is okay and not injured as we try to get some yards here, and he gets stopped at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, you go back to the well one too many times, and they're going to know what's happening. So let's get a little run up the middle here. Come on, McKinley. Only picks up a yard. So pretty crucial, 3rd and 9 right here. So let's see if we can pick this up at the screen. Good pass this time. Good blocks. Just get up to the line. And we got a 4th and 1. So you know who we're going to this time. They has just been fantastic with this all season. So let's pick up this first down as he gets a little bit more and doesn't let go of the ball. 9 yards. You gotta take note of that, McKinley. Although if he would get the ball as often as McKinley did, maybe he would fumble a bit more. Oh, and unfortunately gets stopped almost at the line. So let's go for a toss to the outside. Let's see if we can pick up some good yardage here. Breaks it back in. And nice, finds a good hole for 5 yards. So let's see if we can trick him here with a draw and pick up another first down. As he gets to the next level, good blocks. Hang on to the ball, and he gets up to the 7-yard line. McKinley is over 100 yards for this game. Although, should we really be surprised? But let's go. 1st and 10. We got Oh, let's go, Aiden. Oh, ended up only getting 2 yards on that one. I thought he had a chance to score. I don't know why we're playing games here. Let's put our offensive line against their defensive one, and let's score right up the middle here. No, not another one. Not another one. McKinley ends up fumbling again, this time on the 3-yard line. And we leave, unfortunately, another 7 on the field. Oh, that one hurts so badly. Oh, and he does let go. Yeah, no shot right there. At least we pinned them back down to the 3. So let's see if we can get a safety here. No, not with that rushing attack. And there we go. We end up stopping him for only 3. And Jacobs is now over 100 yards. Well, at 100 yards. But really, come on, same thing. Oh, no. There we go. We end up stopping him, thankfully, for only a gain of 5. And unfortunately, we're leaving that middle of the field just wide open. But we need to stop him here on 3rd and 2 as they change the play again. So let's see what we can do to actually get this stop here because we really need the ball back. Oh, RPO! No! But thankfully, we end up getting him down at the 23. Thankfully, he didn't get any more than that. I mean, I'll be honest, that's just a damn good play call from Garoppolo, and I can't believe I'm actually saying those words. Let's go. Last play before the end of the half, or end of the quarter, thankfully, and we end up stopping him. And again, no shot we are getting shut out in our final game of the season. That is not the way this Bison team goes out this season. Oh no, run from Jacobs again. Ends up going up the middle. Gains 4. So let's do it again. 3rd and 6. Let's get the stop this time. Looks like they're flipping the play. We need to stop them right here. Yes! No! Yes! Sorry, went through a range of emotions right there, and thankfully he overthrows Jacobs coming out of the backfield. And now, 4th and 6, we get the ball back. We need to make this comeback right here. Do I really think we're going to get it? No, probably not, but are we really going to not try? No. And unfortunately, it's going to be a hold. And even though our offensive line has seemed to give up, I sure haven't, as we're going to try to go for the screen pass here. Oh, they read that all the way. And unfortunately, 2nd and 18 now. So they read it last time, but no way they're going to read it 2 plays in a row, right? Come on now. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Let's get some blocks, and we get it up to a 3rd and 11. So it only makes sense if we went for another screen, right? Absolutely not. We're going for the draw right up the middle, right into the guy, and that's only a gain of 2. All right, Lane, time for you to be a hero, buddy. Let's do it right here. As we got Aiden, let's go! I can't believe he caught that! Let's go! 1st down! I didn't know he had it in him. It's actually good to know that he's going to be a good receiver for whatever quarterback we pick up in the draft as we get another draw up the middle and we get another 1st down. All right, guess who has renewed confidence in Lane Johnson here? Oh, yeah, it's going to be me. As we get it. Oh, and unfortunately, he drops it. All right, let's try to actually pick up the 1st down here. Let's run it up the middle yet again. Another set of great blocks right there. And thankfully, we end up picking up a 1st down. Now let's go. This is our opportunity to score right here as we get some good blocks. No one in his way, runs to the outside, or at least tries to, and gets up to the 14. But do you know who deserves a touchdown? Lane Johnson, that's who. Oh, and unfortunately he drops it. That was a for sure touchdown right there, too. But that's not going to deter me from throwing again, because I think we might have... Yeah, we got White across the middle. Ends up picking up 5 yards. Let's try to pick it up here on 3rd and 5. As we get up the middle, thankfully we get it. And up to the 2-yard line, let's rush. Let's go. McKinley's going to pick this up right here for his, I don't even know how many touchdowns this season. Well, never mind. He is not. But let's give him another shot here because he deserves it. He has been the absolute workhorse this entire game. And you better believe he is going to get his 6 right here. And we are not going to get it shut out in our last game of the season. Look at that, just so many holes up the middle, and yeah, no shot that anyone was going to stop him on that one. But I do feel bad that Lane did not get a touchdown on that one, so let's see if we can actually hit White for the 2-point conversion. He cannot because he definitely threw it out of his reach, and now it's still 21-6. So for the fun of it, let's go. Our kickoffs aren't that great either, so let's go for the onside, and let's see if we can actually make something happen here. Let's go. Not bad. Oh, that was actually a really great kick. But unfortunately, we aren't able to actually snag that out of the air, even though that was just inches off. And when I say inches off, oh, I mean inches off. Look at that right there. That is so close. He almost got there. Just a hair faster, and we might have actually had a chance right there. Nice shot, though. It was a really great kick. Now, in all honesty, I'm not 100% sure if that actually made it the 10 yards, but you know what? It's nice to think about as we stop Josh Jacobs at the line of scrimmage. So 2-minute warning. Let's see if we can stop them and get the ball back. All right, let's go. 2nd and 10. Let's see if we can stop them here. And, of course, they're going to be running. Oh, my gosh. How are we going to get them? We are not going to stop them. Oh, actually, we do. Down to the 3-yard line. And come on, just for pride, we need to stop them right here. I don't know how we didn't get Jacobs on that last one. Oh, there we go. We end up stopping him. And we definitely have a chance here. It is 2nd and goal. Let's just make sure they do not score. And of course, he ends up going up the middle, and we stop him at the line again. It's a big down right here. 3rd and goal. We either stop them or they end up scoring. It's one or the other. I don't think there's an in-between. And I am correct, and unfortunately that did not go our way as Davante Adams gets his touchdown today. That is 3 different receivers hit for a touchdown. How do we let Jimmy Garoppolo do that to us? And no offense to Jimmy, because I think him and I actually both hail from Illinois, so I can't say anything bad about him. But come on, man. But let's go. Lane, your last game as a quarterback. Let's just air the ball out right here. Oh, I think he might have it. Keon! Oh, and he ends up knocking it out, unfortunately. I'll be honest with you, I actually really like Keon White. I wish we could have actually used him a little bit more. I say that as we throw a pick to where we would have actually been thrown to him, and I think that is going to be a pick 6. That is not what we want to see, and that is why we haven't been passing all season. And I, as I'm sure you guys are as well, excited for this next season, because once we actually get some skill positions and we don't have to worry about... Oh no. Oh, thank you for breaking that up. There we go. McKinley actually being a defender there. But once we have the ability to do that, I think we're going to be much better off, and I think we're going to have a better time against a lot of these teams as we scramble up the middle, and Lane ends up picking up 4. So let's go back to old reliable just to kind of end the season here. McKinley, oh, they read that, and yeah, unfortunately gets knocked out too. And let's go one more time for old time's sake. I don't know how many screens we're going to be running next season, but hey, that's a real good one to end on. There we go. So let's actually kind of run the clock out. Or would have been the last if we didn't end up picking up the first down. Let's go. We can get one more score before the end of this game. Let's get out of bounds. And he does not. Come on, let's get one more playoff here. Let's see what we can do. There we go. B's going to be open across the middle. No, not in triple coverage, but it was our only shot to potentially get a touchdown. And unfortunately, our final game of the season, we do end up dropping it 35-6. Honestly, after the Chargers game last week, I was really going to miss this team, but then losing 35-6 against the Las Vegas Raiders, yeah, it's making me really excited for next season. And even though we take the L, we do end up getting a better draft position. So at least we take one positive away from this. But man, we made Jimmy Garoppolo look like an absolute star. I'm at a 133.3 rating, 10 for 14, 108, 3 touchdowns. Absolutely ridiculous. Lane Johnson, 12 for 22, probably some of the most attempts he's had in a game this season. 88 yards and that 1 interception, unfortunately. I was hoping we were going to be able to get a touchdown. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. DeCaris McKinley, 161 with 1 touchdown, but had 2 very costly fumbles down in the red zone. Now, Josh Jacobs was an absolute monster, as you would expect. 17 for 142 and the 1 touchdown. Like I said, I knew he was going to be most of their offense, and still, we weren't able to stop him. Sweat ended up getting 3 for 17. Vea 1 for 9. I wish we could have gotten him a little bit more. And then even Hutchinson and Lane Johnson each getting a carry as well. Now, in terms of receiving, obviously for them, Jacoby Myers was really great. 3 for 50 with the touchdown. Michael Mayer had the 1 touchdown as well. And, of course, Davante Adams. We weren't able to even stop Hunter Renfrow as well, so that was a bit of an issue. But on our side, thankfully, a couple other guys ended up getting receptions. McKinley had 9 screens for 60 yards. And then Hutchinson, 2 for 23, 1 on the screen, 1 on an actual pass where he actually made a really good play. Keon White had 1 for 5, and then unfortunately, Collins had 2 drops, and Lewis ended up having 1. Now, even though our defense ended up giving up, well, essentially 28, because one of those was a pick 6, they still actually played pretty decently. You know, they got a little bit of pressure, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough to do anything. And we had 5 TFLs with the 1 sack from Lawrence, no interceptions, obviously, and no fumbles, but we did have 1 pass defense. Way to go, McKinley. Obviously, that was when he was on offense, but at least he gets credit for that. So a very fitting way to end a season where we ended up going 5-12. But again, I'm extremely proud of the way that this team ended up performing. I mean, again, I was expecting them to only win like 1 or 2, but we still ended up winning 5, and against some pretty good teams. We ended up sweeping our rivals, the Chargers, which was extremely nice. And the other good thing is, since we ended up losing to the Raiders, our division looks a little bit better, because if we ended up beating them, the Raiders would have been 8-9, and we would have only had one team over 500 in our division. So obviously that actually makes us look a little bit better, but looking at the standings down there, it's actually pretty nice, because if we end up getting a team that's able to compete and able to throw, kick, and everything that we weren't able to do this season, then we actually have a chance to finish near the top of our division. So fingers crossed we can actually get that and accomplish that next season, but we'll definitely see what happens after the draft. Now, the draft will be the next episode, which is going to be extremely exciting. I am really looking forward to it. I believe that we have 9 or 10 picks. However, after we go through free agency, which we're probably not going to do much of because, again, one of the rules that we set out at the beginning of this franchise is if we go into free agency, the only players that we're allowed to pick up are linemen. The only way we're able to get skill positions is through the draft. So we're really going to have to scout pretty hard, end up picking up some really good players, and hopefully we can develop into a really good team. Now, once we do get into the draft, I am definitely not against trading some of our players to be able to get better draft picks and more draft picks because, again, we have an overload of offensive and defensive linemen that we can probably unload for some pretty good assets. And honestly, that would be extremely nice. And again, in the trades, we can't trade for any skill positions. Those are going to have to be linemen too. But we can also trade for picks, and that is going to be our main quest once we get into the draft. So as we advance into the wild card week, you can see that we are not going to be playing, unfortunately. Now you see we have the Draft Central over there, and we're going to be going over that in the next episode and on stream on Monday. And I know I see our salary cap is extremely over what it should be. However, like I said, we ended up having to remove the cap. That way we could actually have all these players on the team. However, going forward, we're going to make sure that we do stay under the salary cap. That way we don't incur any penalties, and it's like we're actually playing a real franchise. Also, looks like we ended up getting our contract extended, which is really great. We ended up getting a 3-year extension for $5 million, and honestly, I don't know if we necessarily deserve it, but we're going to do our best to kind of prove over the next 3 seasons that we do. So let's go. So it looks like the computer did what the Chicago Bears don't have the balls to do in real life, and that's firing their head coach, offensive and defensive coordinators. I really, again, wish they would do this in real life because I feel like Justin Fields or Caleb Williams or whoever ends up coming in to be the quarterback next season, they really need someone who can actually lead them, and I do not think that coaching staff was able to do that. But other than that, looks like our coaches are safe. Doesn't look like we see any Bisons on the board here, just a couple of other teams that are firing their head coaches and coordinators. So thankfully, we're all safe here. So as we advance into the divisional round, looks like the Bills ended up beating the Dolphins. The Chiefs ended up beating the Steelers, and the Jags ended up beating the Jets. I'm surprised the Jets got in there. So it looks like it's going to be Baltimore and Jacksonville in one game in the divisional, and the Bills and Kansas City in another. And then over in the NFC, Green Bay got trounced by Tampa Bay. The Cowboys ended up beating the Lions, and the Eagles just barely edged out the Seahawks. So it's going to be Tampa Bay versus Philadelphia, and San Francisco versus the Cowboys. And the Bills finally get over the hump and beat Kansas City, and it looks like it's going to be Baltimore and Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. And then over in the NFC, looks like it's going to be San Francisco and the Eagles. Tell me if you've seen that before. So before we see the results of the Super Bowl, looks like Dak Prescott ended up winning the MVP this year. Unfortunately, Montez Sweat couldn't stay in there for, the last handful of games of the season, so he ends up in 9th, though he had an extremely insane season this year. However, that did not stop him from winning the Offensive Player of the Year for the AFC. Otherwise, you're not going to be seeing any Bisons up on that list. However, again, very proud of Montez Sweat for having over 2,000 yards on the ground this season. So it looks like San Francisco ended up beating Baltimore 17-14 in the Super Bowl. And Chris Jones, defensive tackle, wins the MVP. Are you kidding me? That is really nice to actually see a defensive lineman end up winning MVP. Now, before we do end this episode, I do want to do a little recap of the stats for this year because it'll be actually really nice to kind of compare them to next year once we actually get to the end of that one. But Lane Johnson just falling 7 yards short of a 1,000-yard season, 4 touchdowns, and unfortunately 11 interceptions. Was only sacked 9 times though, but for how many times we drop back, that's actually a lot. Now, in terms of our rushing attack, Montez Sweat 23-41 with 17 touchdowns and did not play in a ton of games. Even though it says 17 games played, you know that he only played just a couple snaps in a handful of those games. But still, a really, really incredible season. And then McKinley almost making it to 1,000. 158 for 916 and 8 touchdowns. Now, these averages are insane, man. 6.5 for Sweat, 5.8 for McKinley. Absolutely incredible. Ellerson Smith did obviously get injured, but had 366 and a touchdown as well. Now, surprise, surprise, our top 3 receivers this season were halfbacks. I wonder why that could be. Maybe it's because we're running screens. But obviously Montez Sweat, 455, had 2 touchdowns as well. McKinley with 272, no touchdowns unfortunately. And then Smith, 161 with 2 touchdowns. Hutchinson did get 12 receptions for 71 as well. A couple of those bubble screens, a couple of them throwing it downfield. Keon White with 45 yards as well. And then Terrell Lewis with 18. Now, our defense actually did really well too, although it's not going to be really reflected in a lot of these stats, partially because of the way that we ended up running our offense. We ended up chewing a lot of clocks, so there wasn't a lot of time to be on defense. But some of these stats are still really great. I mean, Dexter Lawrence, 16 TFLs, Micah Parsons, 10, and even in the sack department, man. I mean, Parsons, 5.5, Aaron Donald, 4.5, same with Crosby, and a ton of other guys actually getting in the action as well. Now, we ended up having 5 interceptions this season, surprisingly enough. Derek Rivers with 2 of them. Now, Crosby ended up having 1 and ended up getting that touchdown on that one too. Myles Garrett and Basham ended up getting in the action too. And then, of course, with fumbles, we had 4. One of them ended up being recovered for a touchdown, and that was by Micah Parsons. He didn't force the fumble, but ended up running it back. So all in all, honestly, a really great season from these guys. Again, I wasn't expecting a ton, but man, they definitely overperformed what I was expecting. So that's where we're going to end this video. Like I said, the next episode is going to be the NFL draft, and we do have 9 or 10 picks there, and we definitely have a lot of positions to fill. So hopefully we can actually get a couple more draft picks as we trade during the draft, and hopefully we can pick up a lot of guys who can do some real good damage next year, and hopefully push us over the 500 mark. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you guys all so much for the support. I'm really looking forward to season 2. But if you guys ended up liking the video, make sure to go down and hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week during the draft.